Go live. We are live. Good luck.
And here we go. We have liftoff.
Propulsion continues to be nominal.
RCPA chamber pressure looks good.
Traveling up.
Water towers fly! Yes!
Tango down to nominal.
Fighting downside SPD off. Bring in SPD off. Off.
It's orange!
Orange 45.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage.
Amazing!
Put that in the big bag, Eagle.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed. We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
This methane will be igniting with the flare, correct?
Yikes. You dead? Sure. We don't need any more of these.
Welcome and Happy New Year. It is another NSF live stream, and you are looking at a Falcon 9 at Slick 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, as the lower third says, on Earth. And today, no, it's not another Starlink. SpaceX is launching Ovzon-3, which is a telecommunications satellite for a company called Ovzon AB. I'm Jack Beyer for NSF, and I will be hosting today's live stream. But as usual, we have our competent cohort of commentators ready to provide you with all sorts of interesting tidbits about today's launch. And of course, we have folks out in the field as well. Let's do a bit of a roll call, starting off with Ian Atkinson. Ian, how are you doing, buddy?
Doing pretty good. I liked your alliteration there. I can't remember a single word that you just said, but like cohort of commentators. Yeah, that's pretty nice.
It's a competent cohort of commentators.
I've never been called competent before. I like that. But yeah, I'm doing well. Thank you. Glad to be here, Jack.
Excellent. And out in the field, I do believe we have a Mr. Max Evans. Max, are you there?
I would sure hope so. How do you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear, buddy. 5x5. How you doing?
I'm not too bad, guys. How are you? It is a wonderful evening on Florida Space Coast tonight. Sun's just going down. The weather is nice and pleasant, albeit with some scattered clouds here and there that may or may not spoil the view tonight, or it may add a nice atmosphere. Who knows? But either way, we are kicking off 2024 in a strong way.
Excellent. That's what we like to see. This will be launch number 2 for SpaceX of the year, following a Starlink yesterday out of the best coast, West Coast. I just had to do that, Max. I'm sorry.
Nope.
Negative, Jack. It is 2 against 1 tonight. We are not.
All right, you know what? I'm just going to abandon all hope then. Also, out in the field, we have Julia Bergeron operating today's live camera, so thank you to her for that. Not on comms, but she'll be out there crewing the camera for us. And in the background, we have good old Ryan Caton operating the stream along with Jay Keegan. So that is your lineup for today. And yeah, let's just jump right into it. And, I mean, first off, I was going to do mission overview with Ian first, but Max, tell us a little bit about this view, since Julia's not on comms. This is an outstanding view. What's the deal with this camera location?
It certainly is, and it's not too often that we get to come here anymore. So we are currently on the Space Force side of Cape Canaveral right now. We are currently somewhere inside of the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, about 2.5 miles from the launch pad. So much closer than we get from the press side, of course. And because of that, the views tonight are going to be absolutely stupendous.
Yeah, I mean, stupendous is the right word for it. This is going to shape up to be quite a lovely launch. But speaking of the launch, Ian, would you care to give us a bit of a mission overview for today's launch?
Sure. So I'll start off right now with the countdown because we just passed T minus 35 minutes. Now, that's a very significant point in our countdown because right now, as of 13 seconds ago, 14 seconds ago, RP1 loading or kerosene loading has begun on the first and second stages. So there's now super cooled, chilled kerosene being loaded into both stages, as well as liquid oxygen being loaded into the first stage. Now, that's going to continue throughout up until just a few minutes before liftoff, followed at T minus 16 minutes by second stage liquid oxygen loading. So that's kind of our overview of propellant loading tonight. T minus 7 minutes, we're going to see Falcon 9 begin its engine chill. They'll flow a little bit of little bit of kerosene through the engines and liquid oxygen to chill them down and get them ready for ignition. At T minus 1 minute, we are going to have the flight computers take control of the count and get everything ready for liftoff. We'll give you a bit more of an overview of that as we get closer to liftoff. But moving over into what's in the payload fairing, you briefly mentioned, Jack, this is the Ovzon-3 satellite. Now, this is part of a Swedish-U.S. joint-owned company called Ovzon. Now, like a lot of other geostationary missions, they are doing telecommunications. So this is a telecommunications satellite that's trying to provide connectivity to some of the more remote locations of the world, some of the areas that are underserved in their market. So because of that, this is going to geostationary orbit. It's going to have a view of about 1/3 of Earth at an area that is or it'll be located 60 degrees east in the geostationary belt. Now, this is going to take about 3 to 4 months to get into geostationary orbit after it is deployed by Falcon 9. Now, speaking of being deployed by Falcon 9, this is a very light satellite, only about 1.8 tons. Now, typically, modern day geostationary satellites are around 5 to 7, maybe up to 9 tons if you get into the really big satellites.
Right.
So 1.8 tons is small. Like, this is a very light satellite. And because of that, because it is such a light satellite and it's going to geostationary transfer orbit, Falcon 9 is doing something very unique tonight. So normally on a geostationary mission, they will recover the first stage downrange, landing it on a drone ship. However, for today's mission, since the satellite is so light and they don't need as much performance to get it to geostationary orbit, the first stage will be doing a return to launch site landing. So it'll be landing back at landing zone 1. This is the first time that has ever happened for a geostationary mission on Falcon 9. This has happened recently on the Hokuto R mission, which was a mission to the moon that launched about a year and a half ago. That did a return to launch site, and it had a similar mass to this payload. But this is the first time this has happened on a geostationary mission. Now, that first stage that will be returning, that is booster 1076, this will be flying its 10th mission today. So it's about midlife compared to the rest of the other boosters in the fleet. So yeah, it's a very unique mission today. We don't know the exact landing profile. We're actually discussing that a little before stream. So for those who are unaware, SpaceX will have 2 different landing profiles depending on how strenuous and how tight the propellant reserves are. It could either be a single engine landing where they ignite the center engine to land, or it could be a 1-3-1 landing burn like what they do for the entry burn. We don't know exactly what it'll be, so that's something to keep your eyes out for tonight. But that's a quick overview of our mission, and I'm really looking forward to seeing a geostationary return to launch site. It's something that Falcon 9 has been able to do since it got upgraded to Block 5, but it has not happened in the past, what has it been, 5 years, almost 6 years since Block 5 was introduced. So pretty cool mission tonight.
Gosh, has it really been that long? Block 5 still feels new to me in my mind.
Yeah.
But to your point, this is a very light payload, which is what is enabling the RTLS profile for tonight. So I was just looking it up as you were speaking. I think DART has this beat. DART was 1,300 pounds, so a little bit lighter, but either way, this is an exceptionally light payload. So
Yeah.
it's kind of funny to imagine, like if you play Kerbal Space Program, for example, just like building a massively outsized rocket and then just putting like a tiny little probe on top. It works though. And I'm being told in our back channel that the lightest mission or probe or object, I suppose, that Falcon 9 launched was Ixby. So that beats even DART. But Max, as we switch to this view, I'm seeing some cloud cover, but the other view of Slick 40 was looking nice and clear. What's give us a bit of a sit rep. What's the weather? What's the vibe on the ground? How you doing? What do you think for the weather for today?
The vibe overall is good. I mean, everyone, of course, everyone is happy to be back over on the Space Force side because we don't come out here too often anymore.
Right.
But in terms of the weather, yeah, there's some clouds in the sky. Pretty intrusive in some areas, and it could be where the rocket will be flying from our perspective. But honestly, everyone is just happy to be back out over on the Space Force side and be this close to the launch pad again. So vibes are good. Weather, despite the clouds, is wonderful. There is only a slight breeze in the air, pleasant temperatures. Everyone's in a good mood, man.
Yay.
Tonight is feeling good, feeling special.
Not a bad way to start off the year, right?
That's right. Plus RTLS, so double win.
All right, so y'all, if this is your first time watching, I mean, if you're a long-time viewer, you probably already know this, but if this is your first time watching, if you have any questions, you can @ NASA Spaceflight in chat, and we'll see your questions pop up. The first question that I want to answer from our illustrious viewers tonight is from Lukewarm Milk, who is asking, Max, I'll throw this one to you first. They're asking, is it a stubby nozzle tonight? Famously, the Merlin engine on Falcon 9's second stage occasionally sports a stubby nozzle. Max, do we know what the nozzle situation is for the second stage tonight?
You know, I'm kind of ashamed to admit I'm not honestly sure at this moment. Ian, a little help here? No? Ian? I'm on my own, I guess. Okay.
Ian, I think Ian's AFK for a second. We just put him on the spot at the precisely worst time. My bad.
At the wrong time.
We will go back to the stubby or not stubby question. And of course, once it launches and we get to stage SEP, we will find out then. But look really closely now at the base of Falcon 9, just to the left of the transporter erector there. And you can see a little bit of condensation. The booster is getting frosty, and propellant is being loaded into the vehicle, which is exactly what we want to see. Ian, stubby nozzle or not, do we know?
As far as we know...
Okay. Go ahead, Ian. No, it's all good. It's all good.
I was going to say, as far as we know, probably not. We don't know anything definite as far as I know. Given that this is a, relatively higher performance mission, I would say probably not. Maybe there's enough margin for it. We're going to find out at stage separation either way. But if I had to guess, probably no stubby nozzle.
Yeah, from the info that I'm finding, the answer is no. So they probably need the extra performance from that second stage. Or we could be totally wrong, because if there was ever a mission to perhaps have a stubby nozzle because of the lightness of the satellite and where it's going, maybe they can afford it this time around. We're not sure, but I guess we will find out at stage separation.
It's sort of, dare I say, delightfully counterintuitive that it's an extremely light payload, but a fairly high performance mission given the RTLS and geostationary orbit of the payload. So, it would make sense if they have it. It would make sense if they don't. We'll just have to, I guess, a little bit of suspense for tonight's launch, as we are 26 and a half minutes away. So let's do some more questions. How about we do one from, let's see here, Justin S. This is another Max one. Max, I'm just going to put you on the spot right again. We can see some clouds, but what time is sunset tonight? Justin S. is asking, jellyfish tonight?
So I'm happy to report that sunset is around 5:35 or 5:37, if memory serves correctly. And with launch being at 6:07, that is absolutely prime jellyfish territory.
That is prime jellyfish territory.
The only there's a big but to that, and that is the fact that from our perspective, there's a lot of clouds eastward. So maybe if you're further inland or down the coast or north of the Cape, you might have a better chance of seeing it. But if the clouds stay the way they are right now, I don't believe we're going to see it from our perspective, unfortunately. Maybe our cameras will from KSC, but moment I'm not sure. But in terms of timing, just in general, yes, prime jellyfish hour.
All right, excellent. Well, fingers crossed that we get some interesting interactions in the plume of Falcon 9 and the second stage as they separate and the engines reignite for the boost back burn. This could be quite beautiful if we manage to get our eyes on it despite these clouds. But we'll just have to wait and see. Thank you for the delightful illustration of how daylight works. Yes, the rocket will be launching while the viewer is in shadow, and that means it will ascend into light. And not only could there be that interesting jellyfish effect, but it's even better because it's an RTLS. So we get the extra fancy, I don't even know what to call it, the extra fancy plume interaction between the first stage and second stage due to that boost back. And of course, the delightful sonic booms and a Falcon 9 landing back on land. So this is going to be a good one. I said it already, but what a great way to start the year with an RTLS out of Cape Canaveral. Oh, and here's one from Tom D. Breezy saying, I'm currently in Titusville. Is that a good viewing spot? Provided you have a hole in the clouds, Tom, that should be a fantastic viewing spot. Should it not, Max?
Even if there isn't a hole in the clouds, up until Falcon 9 goes into the clouds, Titusville is a great spot to watch a launch, regardless. So absolutely.
In fact, we just put out a video recently about how to watch a rocket launch at the Cape. Did we not?
I believe we did, I think that was a very smooth segue, Jack. Props to you.
All right, let's do some more questions because we've got some really interesting ones here in the queue. Ian Cooper Foster is asking, do you think SpaceX will make a Falcon 9 Block 6?
No, they have confirmed that they will not be making a Falcon 9 Block 6. SpaceX is focusing the majority of their engineering efforts right now on increasing the cadence of Falcon 9, so really on the pad side, but of course on Starship. Starship is the primary focus of SpaceX right now. There's a bit of engineering work on Dragon as well. SpaceX has been tweaking Falcon 9, making some very small adjustments here and there to timings of the countdown, getting little bits of extra thrust out of the engines and things like that.
I mean, stubby nozzle. That's a perfect example of a Falcon 9 tweak.
Exactly. Some of them are good, some of them are bad, just like the stubby nozzle. But these things are able to kind of help the cadence and help the performance of the vehicle. So there's not necessarily a Block 6. You might, I'd say there's like sub blocks or something, but there have been like tweaks of Falcon 9 over time that we could see some slight differences between the Block 5 boosters, but it's nothing dramatic. We're not going to see a Merlin 1E or like a larger second stage, nothing like that. Falcon 9 is mostly set in stone right now.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, and honestly, if it's not broke, don't fix it. It's performing flawlessly. We had so many launches last year. We will have so many launches this year, all on Falcon 9. So, and to that point, we have a question from Astro3DI asking, do we think SpaceX will exceed the launches this year as compared to 2023?
Oh, no doubt. Unless something happens, like, knock on wood, unless there's like a Falcon 9 failure or something, I have zero doubt that they will exceed their launch rate from 2023. And then I think next year as well, once they get, so mid-2025 is when Pad 6 is coming online at Vandenberg. And I feel like based on all the work they've been doing with Pad 40 and 39A and Pad 4, they're going to hit the ground running with that. So I think for the next few years, each year might be a higher launch rate than the last. Maybe around like 2027, it'll start to plateau, but it's going to be ever increasing year after year for the foreseeable future.
Yeah. Gosh, I'm so excited for Slick 6.
That's going to be incredible.
Max, what do you think? As we wait for the 20-minute vent here in just over a minute, do you think SpaceX will beat their launch number in 2023?
Undoubtedly. I don't think they'll reach their full 144. But I absolutely. I would at the moment it's tough to say exactly where they'll be because of course it's only January 3rd. But I would predict they will end up somewhere between 120 and 130.
That's a fair prediction. I would not bet against you. You know what? As we get closer to the T-minus 20-minute vent, which is the best vent, as we like to call it here, how about we just take a moment and appreciate this amazing view? I mean, wow. If we get eyes on RTLS tonight, that'll be a good one. But there you go. You can see that T-minus 20-minute vent starting up. Ian, I'm going to give you the honors on tonight's launch. What is going on with the T-minus 20-minute vent? Why are we always calling it the best vent?
Yeah, so right now SpaceX is chilling down the lines and clearing out the lines going up to the second stage liquid oxygen tank. Now you can see some liquid nitrogen coming out there right now from the vent. And right now what they're doing, they're chilling the vent, making sure it's clear and clean of any water vapors and things like that before they start liquid oxygen loading into the second stage in about 3 minutes and 48 seconds. So right at T-minus 16 minutes, we're going to begin second stage liquid oxygen loading. But for the next few minutes right now, we're going to see that white cloud come out of the strong back, and that's liquid nitrogen evaporating to gaseous nitrogen, which is being used to purge the lines, clear it out ahead of the relatively rapid loading of liquid oxygen into the second stage. So that's what's happening right now. Meanwhile, first stage is getting both RP1 and liquid oxygen continuously pumped into it, and the second stage still has RP1 being pumped into it as well. So this is a great sign that the countdown is still progressing smoothly and on schedule. And it's, again, a great indication we're about to begin second stage liquid oxygen loading in just about over 3 minutes.
Perfect. So, to be clear, let's break this down a little bit. Ian, you think West Coast is not the best coast, and you think that the stubby nozzle is bad, correct?
Yes.
Max, you think West Coast is not the best coast, and you think stubby nozzle is good, correct?
That is correct.
So I can pit the two of you against each other and divide two of the West Coast, not best coast people.
Incorrect. So Max and I's bond as friendship and as besties will hold us together even through the toughest of perils. We can set aside our differences to realize that Wallops is an amazing spaceport. So we can set aside Stubby and realize that East Coast is the best coast.
I mean, Jack, to be fair, like no matter how you try and frame this, you have the L either way.
You know what?
Indeed.
I'm gonna just take it. In this case, I'm just gonna take it. I tried. I shot my shot. It did not work. And here we are at T-minus 18 minutes, waiting for Falcon 9 to loft this payload into geostationary orbit and then come back and land at the launch site. How crazy is that?
That is an absolutely stunning view right now. The lights over in the crew access tower have just recently come on, and the lights at the pad have also come on to shine on Falcon 9, contrasted with the dark clouds in the back. Man, it is getting absolutely beautiful out here.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, thank you for the report on the ground. Let's see. I do want to thank some people for the support, because after all, we are viewer supported. So RC Horseman, thank you so much for gifting 5 Red Team memberships. One of those names that pops up every stream. What? Okay, hang on. Max, you like Ship 26, really? You're a Ship 26 guy? You just had to be.
I've openly said this in a few Starbase updates ago. I openly said this in the video. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why. You must have, obviously, because you weren't there, because I was recording.
No, actually, I remember, because you were needling me specifically.
I was.
Okay, no, I do remember. Anyways, let's talk trajectory really quick. Thank you, RC Horseman. But really quickly, just for all the people who are asking what way this is going is basically going straight east, right?
Yes, so Falcon 9 is going, doesn't look like exactly straight east, maybe a slightly north. But yes, from Cape Canaveral, you want to launch basically directly east to get into Geostationary Transfer Orbit. Now this mission is going, like I mentioned, into GTO, and the reason that you want to go straight east is because Cape Canaveral has a latitude of about 28.5 degrees, or maybe 28.6. So automatically, the lowest inclination orbit you can get to is 28.5 degrees. So you want to launch straight east so that you can stick to that minimum latitude. So you need to make minimal corrections to your orbit. Now, a geostationary orbit has an inclination of 0 degrees. So if you launch from Cape Canaveral, you need to make at minimum 28.5 degrees of inclination changing. And inclination changes are not cheap for propellant. It takes a lot of delta V to change your inclination. So that's why they're launching straight east, to minimize any inclination changes they need to do. And this is very typical for geostationary launches out of the Cape.
Excellent. Also want to thank Musical Wolves. They say first Cape launch of the year. Hashtag 2024 Bacon Fun. Thank you, Musical Wolves. JD Brown, thank you so much for the super chat there. They say, what's the difference between Geostationary Transfer Orbit, which is what Ovzon-3 is going to, and Geostationary Earth Orbit? And is it above or below the satellite's drop-off point? I'm going to go straight to you to this one, Ian, but my gut is that it's above, and the difference is the perigee is much lower because the satellite itself does the equalization of the orbit. Is any of that correct? What's the deal with GTO versus GEO, Ian?
Yeah, so in order to kind of understand GTO versus GEO, you need to understand some basic orbital dynamics, and I can't really explain all of that over audio. Diagrams really help with this, but essentially, the Falcon 9 is going to inject the satellite into a low Earth orbit. It's a circular orbit about 200 to 400 kilometers above Earth's surface. It's going to stay there for a little bit. Then it will reignite its engine about let's see the exact timing right now, and I don't have that tab open, so probably about 40 minutes after liftoff. Oh, thank you, Ryan, actually. So about 40 minutes after liftoff, it is going to reignite its engine in that low Earth orbit. I'll wait for Ryan to catch up a little bit here. Perfect. So we reignite the engine there. Now it's going to make the satellite go faster and make the orbit turn into a bit of an oval. So you're going to have the same perigee as low Earth orbit, so about 400 kilometers or so, but now your apogee, or the highest point in your orbit, is about 36,000 kilometers above Earth's surface. Right up there. Thank you, Ryan. So because of that, you're both touching low Earth orbit and touching geostationary orbit. So that is what a transfer orbit is. It gets you between two different orbits using an O-berth maneuver. Now what will happen, Falcon 9 will then separate that satellite. The satellite will again be in that transfer orbit where it touches low Earth orbit and touches geostationary orbit.
Right, and presumably at that point the Falcon 9 second stage does a deorbit burn and will re-enter the atmosphere, or for these missions do they leave the second stage up there?
So they usually leave them up there. This orbit is not very stable. It will decay over several months or several years, depending on how low the perigee is. So what they're going to do, they're going to release the satellite, and Ryan demonstrated it there. Yeah, over time, the Earth's atmosphere, because the atmosphere doesn't have a dedicated end, it kind of keeps going into space, but gets thinner and thinner. It'll slowly drag the second stage down. Yeah. Atmospheric drag. The International Space Station actually fights atmospheric drag a lot. But anyway, so with this,
continue.
Your apogee is touching geostationary orbit. Your satellite then needs to burn its own engines over a series of burns over 3 to 4 months in this case to slowly raise its orbit up and up and up until it gets to a fully geostationary orbit. It's again, I tried to explain it the best that I could. If you want, there's some diagrams available, some animations available, or you can even just play Kerbal Space Program. But that's kind of an overview of a transfer orbit versus a pure geostationary orbit. A transfer orbit gets you between two orbits, plain and simple.
Yeah, thank you for that, Ian. That was amazing. And really, playing Kerbal Space Program is the best way to learn orbital mechanics as someone who is, speaking as someone who is not good at math or particularly good at grasping these things when you're like reading a paragraph about it. But just playing Kerbal, I know we always talk about Kerbal Space Program. If you've never played it, I mean, absolutely consider it, because it has helped me wrap my head around so many things with regards to not just orbital mechanics, but like how you build a rocket in general. Like, at a certain point, it just doesn't make sense to make the tanks bigger. Cool. Well, thank you, JD Brown, for that super chat. That was some excellent art from Ryan there.
Definitely.
Really appreciate the illustration there.
Can we get a metal print of that in the store?
Yeah, someone DM Adrian. Blake Alexander, thank you for gifting 10 Red Team memberships. Thank you so much. And Chris W. gifting a Red Team membership. Also, Apocalypse Cal gifting 10. We always talk about the membership program here. It is an awesome way to get even more NSF content and all kinds of cool stuff that only members get at Capcom level and above. There is Discord access. The Discord is an amazing, thriving place with a whole bunch of different channels on all kinds of stuff. So check that out if you're Capcom level and above. But either way, if you got gifted a Red Team membership, be sure to thank the person that gifted it to you, because that's awful nice of them. Christopher Hella, thank you for the support. Another one of those common names we see all the time. A regular, if you will. They say, it's been Christmas. Have you guys seen the Blue Origin CNC tour with Titan? I have not watched that yet. That is on my watch later list. Ian, Max, have you guys watched that yet?
Not yet.
I was not aware that was a thing.
It's a thing, and we're gonna have to like do a watch party later or something.
Sounds good to me.
Moldy Space, Moldy.
Hi, Steve.
Speaking of the member Discord, Moldy makes the most amazing / horrible things in Kerbal Space Program, which you can check out in the gaming channel. But thank you, Moldy, for gifting 5 Red Team memberships. You are perhaps the best human.
Yes.
I'm gonna butcher this name. Who wants to try and say this name? I want Lou Dehan. That's my best guess.
I can't see it on screen, so that's on you, Ian.
Max, it's Lieuwe is the first name. Do you want to give a try as we are T-minus 10 minutes to go?
Negative, Ghost Rider.
I think.
All right.
I feel like maybe Louis, but that's
Louis. That makes sense.
Apologies.
It could even just be Louis. It's like the Dutch version of the French Louis. I don't know. Either way, thank you for becoming a Pad Rat member. Tim Reed, thank you for becoming a Red Team member. And Emmanuel Bravo, thanks for the super chat. They say, hello everyone, Happy New Year. Quick question. Do you think that there will be any Starship tests from Florida this year? That's an interesting one. Max, we'll go with you first. Do you think we see any Starship tests from Florida this year?
That's a really good question. My gut tells me no, but honestly, you never know.
What does your heart tell you, Max?
My heart also says no, unfortunately. I think they have to get a handful of at least a handful of quote unquote successful flights out of Starbase before they can even look in Florida's direction yet. So, and we're still a bit off of that, but they could knock that out before summer for all we know. My gut tells me not this year.
Ian?
Absolutely not. We might see, of course, the factory is currently a swampland. There is no Starship factory on the East Coast, so they would need to import a booster in a ship. I think at the absolute most, we might see like pad tests with the vehicles, so like a cryo test. But we will absolutely not, in any universe, in my opinion, see a Starship launch from Florida this year, much to my dismay.
All right, well, let me cook for a second, as the Youngs say. They say Starship tests. They don't say Starship flights. Emmanuel specifically said Starship tests. So, maybe they truck a booster out to... Yeah, no, I don't. I tried. I tried to cook. It didn't work.
I'm eating what you're cooking. I think that I could see like a cryo test with a booster, maybe like a spin prime feels way too far in advance, but I think like, liquid nitrogen minor loading test, maybe, but that would be in like December, if anything.
I was going to try and play it like, oh, it's a Starship test if they move the chopsticks up and down, or it's a Starship test if they do some tank farm stuff. But even then, I don't think that really, as much as I would like to stretch the meaning of the question, I don't think it really counts. So yeah, I'm going to say no.
I think the farthest that they get this year is pad testing. But that's also a huge question mark at the moment. So
yes,
yeah, and pad testing wouldn't really shock me. So if that qualifies as a yes to that super chat answer from Emmanuel, then yes. But if we're talking specifically like a vehicle at the pad, probably not. Do we have a thing to show? Oh, actually, yes, Ian. What are we seeing here?
Yeah, so we have a live view on the left from a screenshot of a formerly live view of the SpaceX landing zone complex. So we see the kind of white oval on the ground right in front of the camera. That is landing zone 1. That's where this first stage is going to be landing. But the really interesting part here is in the background. That booster in the background is one of the Falcon Heavy boosters from the most recent mission, from the USSF 52 mission. And that's really cool. It's honestly surprising to me that the booster is still out there. But when you think about it, they don't have that much of a flight rate coming back to the landing pads. So it's not really a huge rush to get it down, but it's still really neat that they still have that booster. Looks like it's on one of the kind of tear-down mounts where they fold up the grid fins, fold up the landing legs, and get it ready to be put horizontal. So pretty neat to see that they're ahead of the landing tonight.
Yeah, so it's on the little fold-up stand, but not on the landing pad itself, but it's kind of like landing pad adjacent. But either way, There's two, so not a big deal.
Yeah, they have two stands. They have one for LZ2 and one for LZ1. And they have space for this booster when it comes back.
Cool. All right, at this point, with T-minus 5 minutes and 40 seconds-ish to go, we should bid Max adieu so he can take some cool photos. Good luck, Max. Godspeed. See you on the other side.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I will see you on the other side.
Good luck.
Yeah, have a great launch. All right, just under 5.5 minutes until liftoff. Really quickly, I do want to thank a couple more people as we await the T-minus 2 minute vent, which I'll once again give you the honors of explaining, Ian. But before that, Bideford, Hey, Bideford, another regular, with a $20.24 with a 2024 super chat, saying, "Sorry guys, I just had to do it. Jack, West may be best, but Max is right about East launches. The Beast, go East, and no Stubby." See, she also agrees that Stubby bad. So, Austin Skirvin, however, doesn't, with a $5 tip to tips.nasaspaceflight.com. Thank you for supporting us directly, Austin. They say Stubby nozzle, best nozzle. Lawrence, grabbing something from the store. Thank you so much. They say, showing my lifetime love and support for NSF. We appreciate that. Ooh, they got L2. In fact, they got L2 lifetime.
Ooh, congratulations.
Yeah, I figure most people that watch our streams probably don't know what L2 is, but NASA Spaceflight started off as a website, and as part of that website, there was a forum. There still is. And there is a paid section of the forum where all kinds of cool stuff is posted, and that is called L2. Which you can subscribe to on a monthly basis or a lifetime basis, or any basis you so choose. But there you go. Thank you for grabbing that lifetime L2 subscription.
I was going to say real quick little L2 plug. If you love space history, you are going to love L2. I have spent hours digging through. There's a lot of information that was really old, in bad shape, that people have digitally cleaned up. They've scanned them so that it's preserved forever. And there's a lot of excellent information, one of a kind, really old videos too in there.
One of a kind is the right way to put it.
There's a shocking amount of Buran footage too,
Boo.
An incredible amount of Buran footage. And yes, but it's still important to preserve history. And it's a great way to not only support the site, but then get really cool kind of behind the scenes access to a lot of things that are going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Fun fact, L2 is what got me into NASA Spaceflight in the first place. I had an L2 sub. I saw Chris B post about looking for people, and I reached out and was like, I like photographing planes and rockets, and however many years later, here we are. So, hooray for L2. Anyways, 3 minutes to go before this launch, and then landing back at the launch site that we're going to see tonight. Hopefully we get some excellent sonic booms. Hopefully we get that jellyfish effect if the weather permits. This could shape up to be a truly beautiful and stupendous launch. So stay tuned. We've got just under 3 minutes to go. Really quickly, SA, thank you so much for the support. Once again, we are completely viewer supported here. So y'all, we get to do this because y'all are the best. So thank you. They say happy launch day. We'll be down there. Sunday. Is Vulcan still on track Monday morning? Yes, it is. That's going to be a really good one. Nighttime launch of a Methalox rocket. Oh, I can't wait to see the long exposures. Steve Kalovic, thank you for gifting 10 Red Team memberships. 2 Sheds 30619. Thanks for becoming a Red Team member. Stephen Hansen also becoming gifting a Red Team member. Really appreciate that. So Ian, at T-minus 2 minutes here, we are about to see another excellent event. Tell us a little bit about what's going on here. It's basically the same kind of thing as this T-minus 20-minute event, right? Just for a different part of the vehicle?
Yeah, so it's basically now beginning to clear out the transporter of its propellants. They are beginning to wrap up propellant loading right now, and you can see the vent starting right there. Now what they're doing is finally purging out the lines, just like they did before, but now they're purging out the oxygen. They're also draining out the RP1 from the lines. You can't really vent RP1. That is a ecological hazard, and you'll have a lot of people in black suits knocking on your door. But what they're doing right now is cleaning out the oxygen from the lines. Now, in about 1 minute and 22 seconds, there's going to be what you can describe as a very hot event happening at the pad. And when a very hot thing happens, you don't want to have flammable stuff nearby. So what they're doing right now is they're cleaning out propellants from the transporter so to kind of safe it and inert it so that there's minimal chance for any damage. If you have pipes explode, it might not be the end of the world structurally, but that really hurts your turnaround time. You need to replace those pipes, qualify them, pressure test them, and all of that. So to minimize that and to minimize any damage and turnaround times, they're now cleaning out the transporter. That's going to continue for a few seconds. We're getting below T-minus 1 minute right now.
Yeah, so the vehicle is in startup and on internal power. And we have 35 seconds to go. Everything on track and looking good.
T-minus 30, continuing on that vent there past 30 seconds. And we have a confirmation that we are go for launch tonight. So SpaceX has given the go for launch just past T-minus 20.
Yep, there we go. Roughly T-minus 15 there. And T-minus 10. Let's watch this payload go to space.
Heck yeah.
Keep your eyes on the base of the vehicle.
Sound
The water
suppression is
deluge.
on.
Yep. There's ignition. And liftoff of Falcon 9 carrying Ovzon-3 for Ovzon AB. Headed to Geostationary Transfer Orbit. Let's listen in. We had such good audio, I'm hesitant to even speak over it.
That was some incredible liftoff sound.
Gotta love the squeal of the vehicle assembly building. And here we can see the plume of the Falcon 9 first stage expanding as the vehicle ascends into thinner and thinner atmosphere. Ian, what are we going to see next in fairly rapid succession?
Yeah, so right now we're coming up on T plus 2 minutes right now. So in about 16 seconds, 13 seconds, we're going to see the main engines cut off. So those 9 engines will shut down. We'll see stage separation 3 seconds later, and then 8 seconds later, we'll see the second stage engine ignite. So that's going to be happening real soon, right about now. So we have main engine cut off.
All right,
Next we have stage separation.
Hopefully we get some jellyfish action. It looks like we're fighting some clouds. Come on, jellyfish. And you can see on the left side, a little bit delayed, there is stage sep from the onboard cams. And there is second stage engine start.
And there we go. Now that second stage is going to burn for about 6 minutes. It's going to shut itself down and get into a low Earth parking orbit.
Also, I'd like to confirm no stubby.
Roger, no stubby. Look at the shadow of the first stage on its own plume.
Beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful.
So stage 1 is now up, or it's almost in the vacuum of space right now, and its plume is fighting the plume from the second stage engine. You can see all that crazy gaseous effect towards the edges of the screen as stage 1 turns itself back around to come to Cape Canaveral.
This is just absolutely beautiful. I'm almost at a loss for words here. We should be at the point where the fairings jettisoned, but I do not believe we are getting onboard views of the second stage tonight.
It does not look like it. I wonder if this is a, not necessarily classified, but more of a proprietary mission.
Right. It really is remarkable how long the boost back burn is. And there we go. It looks like shutdown of that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, with the boost back burn, it's a long burn because you really need to cancel out all of the horizontal velocity that you just gave yourself, and then give yourself a little bit more going back westward to get yourself back to Cape Canaveral. And it's crazy how you can see they only need 3 engines for that burn when they needed all 9 to get back up there, because you don't have the second stage mass, the payload mass, and the mass of all that propellant that you burned.
It's just so wild to see the vehicle moving away from that plume that it just created along with the second stage. And just, like, what an onboard view. Just utterly beautiful. And you can see the shadow of the vehicle on that plume. You can see the grid fins have popped out. You can see all of the ice spraying everywhere. And, of course, the periodic, it's almost like clockwork, the cold gas thrusters.
Yeah. Yep, very slowly rotating the vehicle back around for its entry burn, which is going to be coming up in about a minute.
This is the part where, when I'm playing Kerbal Space Program, I rotate it way too aggressively.
Me too. I completely rotated around, but here, look at the...
Oh, yes! This is what we were talking about with that sunset timing and the jellyfish effect. You can see the cold gas thrusters on the first stage, orienting the vehicle for entry.
Wow.
Absolutely beautiful. What a way to start 2024.
Absolutely. RTLSs do not get old, and I'm sure Max would agree. But he's busy tracking this right now.
Julia is tracking it, as well as our
my
robotic
bad.
cameras. I believe we have Gage on a robotic camera as well, and Max is I believe shooting photos of this one. So either way, we're gonna get some really good content from this launch. I'm excited to see what's coming. But you know what I'm also excited for, Ian?
The landing?
The landing, but more specifically, the sonic booms and accompanying sonic squeal from the vehicle assembly building. If you guys heard that weird, otherworldly, almost ghoulish, like screeching during launch, we had particularly good audio of the squealing that the vehicle assembly building makes when Falcon 9's launch. For whatever reason, there's some sort of resonance, and the entire building, like the doors on it, just make sort of a shrieking. There we go. That's entry burn, right?
The entry burn. Yep. So that's 3 engines burning right now. It's going to slow itself down, but also that plume's acting as a heat shield for the first stage. It's kind of pushing away any re-entry plasma that would be building up. So that's what's going on right now. It's going to last for a few more seconds, down to 1 engine, and shut down.
It really is. I mean, I say this, I feel like almost every stream, but it's fighting fire. It's fighting the heat of entry with its own fire. Like
exactly what it's doing.
What's less hot than superheated plasma? Rocket exhaust.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, but it really does make sense, actually. And so it's booster 1076 making its way back for its 10th landing. And look at that cloud layer. It's about to punch right through.
Heck yes.
You can literally see the dividing line between sunlight and dark there. That is incredible.
I mean, and that perfectly illustrates the conditions that enable that jellyfish effect. You are in shadow, the viewer is in shadow, it ascends into daylight, and just really absolutely astounding. And it's cool to think, even when you don't see that on a launch, it's still happening. It's just, in these particular conditions, we get the best views of it. Like, speaking of the best views,
look at that.
Man, that was beautiful. And here we go, the landing burn. 1076 coming back. Will it stick the landing? As if there was any doubt.
That's a pretty long landing burn. Looks like this may be a single engine landing burn. I'll have to go back and analyze the footage, but looks to be about standard for a return to launch site.
Interesting. And there you go. It's going to dip behind the tree line there. And it looks like...
Oh, look at that shot on the right.
That's gorgeous. You'll love to see it. You can see the grid fins really doing the work there. And there was the sonic squeal.
Gorgeous. I love seeing on these RTLS missions, when you get these close-up of the landing booster, I love seeing the close-ups when you could see the single engine firing, but also the 8 inactive engines just along for the ride, literally.
Right.
It's so cool to see, I don't know, the booster in a not full thrust capacity, if that makes sense. I don't know, maybe I'm going off on a weird tangent, but I just really love seeing it come back and the other engines just relaxing after their really long firing there.
No, go off. I'm completely there with you. It's just wild to see. Falcon 9, at this point, it's launched so many times that we almost take it for granted, but it's a truly outstanding vehicle and a really freaking cool vehicle. And there we go. Speaking of really cool, there's our favorite view on launch day. In fact, this might even be our favoriteest view because of the spectacular nature of this particular location. But that is an empty launch pad, also known as the DOS shot. That's his line. It's his favorite view. It's all of our favorite views.
I don't know if Max can hear us right now, but I would love a picture of this shot as a desktop background. I'm not even joking. This is phenomenal. I love launch support infrastructure and also the reflection on the water. This is an incredible angle right now. But yeah, like you said, great shot on launch day. Pads thrown back, and I think, Max, are you back on comms?
You're extra quiet.
Very quiet.
Sounds like you're in the other room. I don't even know what you just said.
I
Max,
think you just said 1 second. Oh,
good deal. Well, here we go. Let's make sure that everybody who came out and supported the stream tonight gets thanked. Travis Cecil, thank you so much for the support. They say East Coast, not Stubby. Meatball, Endeavor, enough said. West Coast, not Stubby. Worm, Atlantis. I mean, we can agree to disagree, but there you go. If that's the code, then that's the code.
I mean, East Coast has Enterprise, Discovery, Atlantis. You can say Pathfinder, maybe. It has several Falcon 9 boosters on display, or one Falcon Heavy booster on display. I think that's why East Coast is best coast. It has the best shuttle, which is Discovery, along with 2 other pretty great shuttles.
Ian just coming out with fists waving. Max, you're still turbo quiet, buddy. Try again. Whatever you did, try it again. Chris W, thank you for gifting a Red Team membership. Still quiet. I'd rather be flying an X-Wing. Thank you for the super chat. They say East Coast Pro, Earth Spins, East Coast Con, Mosquitoes, Humidity, Florida Man, Hurricanes, Snakes, Gators, Spring Breakers. You know, I might be best friends with I'd rather be flying an X-Wing, especially because Max is super quiet right now.
Did somebody just say Florida Man?
Oh, he's back. What's up,
Florida
dude?
Man.
There we go.
How was that launch?
That was beautiful. It's so teasing because we can just see the remnants of the exhaust from the jellyfish like through the clouds, but not like the clarity isn't there, but we can just get through it. So it's so teasing. Had these clouds not been here, it would have looked absolutely supreme.
Right.
But all things considered, man, that was a great way to start the year, and absolutely zero complaints.
I mean, we still got some superb views from Julia and from SpaceX, so ultimately, no complaining. I see people in the chat asking about the second stage and payload. We do not have any views of the second stage for tonight's mission, so it's on its way, and we'll have to just stay tuned to. Oh my God, we're gonna have to stay tuned to X, the Everything app, for more information. I feel dirty.
Oh. It's Twitter.
Just call it Twix. Twix.
No, I'm not. No,
That's
it's
a chocolate
even worse.
bar.
It is delicious, but it's even worse. To Tim McRae or Tim McCr. I have no idea how to say this name. Anybody? Tim McCrate.
EMC crate.
There, yeah, that's probably right. 25 Gaming. They say stubby nozzles on ship 26. That's so cursed.
Ew.
Sven Floor gifting a Red Team membership. Thank you so much. Ground umbilical carrier plate, which shakes me to my core. Thanks for gifting a Red Team membership. Jerwa, another regular. In fact, maybe one of the best regulars. Thank you so much for gifting the 10 Red Team memberships there. Tim W. also gifting one. Richard Cochran with a 20 Curly L super chat. Thank you so much. They say best wishes to the NSF team. Hope 2024 works out well for you. Well, with support like y'all are coming out with tonight, we should have a nice, bright, shiny 2024 with even better coverage than we did in 2023. Fingers crossed. Let's see. Max, you got to pack up and you have to leave. I don't know if you can unmute, but thank you so much for being on.
Yeah, thank you very much, everyone, for me. And I could not have imagined a better way to start 2024. So thank you very much, everyone, again.
Like 5x3 on that, but we still got your heartfelt thanks, and we appreciate you, Max. So thank you so much.
Thank you,
also,
Max.
Give Julia a big hug for us when you see her. You can see we got a replay going on the left-hand side from good old Fleet Cam, which is one of our 24/7 live streams. If you didn't know about Fleet Cam exists. Wait. No. Do we still do Fleet Cam? Oh my God. Did it turn into...
It's Space Coast Live.
It turned into Space Coast Live. What's wrong with my brain today, Ian?
It is Fleet Cam, a part of Space Coast Live. You could say that.
I just teleported myself back 2 years before Space Coast Live.
That reminds me of when we first had Fleet Cam in beta testing. We were just watching the sunset together in Discord. There's 20 of us. Memories. Anyway.
How the time flies. Troy Hammond, thank you for the support. They say currently at sea at Grand Turk. Will I see second stage staging from here? I hope you did, buddy. Troy probably had a really good view. Claire Louise Martin, thank you for becoming a Patriot member. Fawad Raza, thank you so much for the support. They say, hi Ryan, again, assembling furniture. Just catching up. What's going up as payload, please? Were they talking to Ryan? Ryan, do you know this person? But we talked a little bit about the payload, telecommunications satellite going to geostationary. Ooh, and there's landing in the replay.
Love seeing it.
You love to see it. I mean, it's Falcon 9 makes it look absolutely easy, which is wild because it's currently the only vehicle that gets anything close to being able to do this. Hunters Run Adventures, thank you for the support. Bideford with another $30 super chat. Thank you so much. They say, oh my god, a beauty tonight. Love the empty. I agree. I want a shot too, Max. Hopefully, Max shot that photo for you, Ian.
I am texting him right now.
You are? Text him.
I'm actively typing.
Just text him Stubby Bad, Heart Jack, or something like that.
Noted.
I mean, he's probably listening right now. Then there's an excellent shot of launch from one of our robotic cameras. I wonder if this is the one that Gage... Yeah, this is the one that Gage tracked from however far away. Gage, how many thousands of miles away from KSC are you? That's outstanding. The kinds of things we can do with y'all's support. Good work, Gage. Was this with the old MacPad, the old trackpad? Tracking from Columbus, Ohio. That's wild.
Nice.
And yeah, wow, MacBook Pro with a trackpad. Nice. Frank Seifert, thank you for becoming a Patriot member, and I'm sorry for butchering your name. Peter Thompson becoming a Red Team member. Peter Thompson also with a super chat that I just deleted accidentally because I'm terrible. I'm terrible. I just deleted it. I can't get it back. Sorry. Rick St. Hillary, thank you for gifting a Red Team membership. Billy Charlson, also gifting a Red Team membership. Benjamin Brown with a super chat saying, let's call Stubby Nozzles Chibi Nozzles, and Apocalypse Cow gifting 10 Red Team memberships. Another one of those regular names. Thank you, Apocalypse Cow. Huh. All right, well, rocket goes up, rocket comes down. Can't explain that. Actually, you can, and it's really cool.
Yeah. I knew you can't explain it. I'm going to school to explain it.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for choosing to start off your year of launch coverage with NASA spaceflight. We really appreciate all of the support. It really means the world to all of us because we really enjoy what we do, and we can do it because of support from viewers like you. Ian, you have any final thoughts here as we watch these replays roll?
Just reiterating what you said. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in with NASA Spaceflight. This is going to be a phenomenal year in spaceflight. I think it's going to be one of the best years ever in spaceflight. And yeah, I wish everyone here a happy and healthy new year. Stay safe, and we look forward to seeing you on as many live streams as you have time for this year. There's going to be a lot of them, so stay tuned because NSF is only going to be getting faster and faster. We have some phenomenal projects coming up that I am beyond excited for happening this year.
Oh yeah, it's going to be an awesome year. I'm so excited. I couldn't have said it better myself. So thank you, Ian, for being on commentary. Can we get Ian's little info card thing to pop up there if you want to follow him on X, the Everything app, or whatever app of your choice? We'll get Ian's info on screen. Thank you, buddy. Also, once again, out in the field, we had Max Evans. Max is also on X, the Everything app. Oh, God, I can't. It's like a punch in the face.
You don't need to say that, Jack. You really don't need to. No one's making you.
I'm making me. It's 2024. It's my resolution. I'm just joking. Thank you, Max, for being out in the field. Ryan Caton was operating the stream, running in the human-sized hamster wheel that makes things go. So thank you, Ryan, for that and the excellent illustrations. Let's get his info on screen. It's like I'm saying it. He's the one doing it. And also, of course, we had Julia in the field operating the camera. So, with that, I think we'll leave y'all. If you want, you can go hang out at Space Coast Live, which is our 24/7 live stream of all things Cape Canaveral, formerly Fleet Cam. You'd think I'd remember that, but apparently I'm brain dead today, and I am, of course, Jack Beyer for NSF. Thank you for watching the stream. Thank you for all the support, and We will see you nerds next time.
And here we go. We have liftoff.
Propulsion continues to be normal.
RCPA chamber pressure looks good.
Rolling up. Roger, Atlantis.
Water towers, fly! Yes! Tango down to nominal.
Flight down to SPD off. Say again, SPD off. Off.
It's orange!
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage! Put that in the big bag, Eagle.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
Methane would be igniting in the flare, correct?